What's up, troopers? We are back for the Notorious Scoundrels. We have yet another special guest. Before we get to him, Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Everything's dandy. The world's fine. We're about to see Upgrade Pack 2 legally released for play in 3 days?
3 days is from us recording this, or 2 days.
So we all get to play with super busted OP stuff until it all gets nerfed for some amount of time.
All right, yeah, we'll get to that in our conversation. We are joined by Isaiah Wallace,
just a dude.
Once upon a time,
just a dude.
He's just a dude. Once upon a time, he was a Legion champion of the world, and ever since that moment that I'll remember well at AdeptCon this year, when you came to the table after I was also knocked out of the Worlds, and you were like, "I'm free."
That was a great joy for me, and it was good getting to walk over to the person who knocked me out, Trent Hale. Afterwards, getting to walk over to Mike's table and be like, "Hey, you're going to be free too."
I was free shortly thereafter.
Yeah, I mean, Trent Hale's the real deal. Like, I think that as far as players from Indiana go, it's Trent Hale, and then this is like whatever after that. But yeah, there was some other person that we used to have in this podcast, but I think probably no longer. I think last time might be the last time. Well, yeah, we'll see how long my fortitude holds up.
Well,
Isaiah,
did you gotta leave him in the woods?
Did you see the picture that Ali posted of Brian at the original WTC?
No.
All right, so yeah, we're gonna have a live reaction, and of course we're gonna be showing this on the cast to get your true live reaction. But yeah, this is a 100% real picture. I just sent it to you on Discord. That shows the Team USA folks at the original WTC in Granada, Spain. And yeah, that's what he looks like. You can verify this, right, Isaiah?
It's so wonderful. I love that so much. It's exactly what somebody who went to OU would look like.
Oh man, he's not even here to defend himself.
Nor should he be.
Yeah, nor should he be, nor will he be ever, if things go according to plan for this podcast. But anyway, we have some good stuff to talk about this week. I do want to give some shout outs. First of all, though, we have two sponsors. That is Game Toppers and Legion Terrain. Game Toppers makes the lovely table that not only that I have right behind me, I'll move aside so that people can see it, but also like Isaiah and I were just playing at Zulu's Games, which is apparently going to have a new store.
Oh, I can talk about that if you want, but
yeah, I mean, well, that's sort of like a local flavor thing, but that the store where Isaiah and myself and Izzy and many other very good players play is now actually probably going to be able to host tournaments on a more regular basis, because that was sort of the one thing we couldn't do because of space. So that'll be some exciting stuff.
Damn you, Magic the Gathering!
Yes, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon. They have a little bit of 40K there.
Man. TCGs are always like, it's hard for stores to validate giving wargamers space because TCGs pay the bills.
Yeah, those are the things that actually keep game stores alive. Yeah. That and maybe like 40K a little bit, but it's mostly it's TCGs and food and drinks are like the things that actually keep game stores alive. So just remember that the next time you want to shake your fist at your LGS. But yeah, like Zulu's going to have more space soon. But what I was getting to is that Zulu's has a whole bunch of Game Toppers tables, and like yesterday, I was like leaning on it. I was putting all my weight on it, and just like setting a bunch of stuff on it. And
slammed my head against it at one point.
Yeah. That was just for fun. But it like doesn't move. It's like this nice weighty thing that it turns any table into a game table. That's what it does. Pretty cool. And yeah, Legion Terrain, very high quality stuff. You got some links on the YouTube page for that. Also want to give a shout out to a random patron, Lily Aaron Cliff. Thank you for your support. Also to not random patron Kaletor, who is a Bay Area player who is up here for work, and he was friendly enough to actually like come by just to say hey to people at the store that Isaiah and I are playing at. He was talking a lot about how impressed he was by Isaiah's Legion skills, which I furrowed my brow at. And then he also talked about how much he loved this show, which Isaiah furrowed his brow at. So yeah, there was a lot of compliments from him paired with doubt from the two of us. But yeah, really nice to meet you. And thank you for coming by.
It was really
cool. Yeah, we always appreciate the support, even if I don't necessarily always understand why it is happening. Also, update from last week. This is the final update part of the segment. We talked about Gig Harbor, and I was wondering what a gig was. Isaiah, do you know the answer to this?
Gig?
Yeah, you know the town Gig Harbor that's like in our area.
Yeah, I'm familiar that it exists.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah. Do you know? Wow.
Like, what is a gig in that context? It's probably like a. I mean, my assumption is like gig work, like that phrase, like odd job, right? Like,
so yeah, that is a definition of gig, or gig meaning, what is it? Like, is that the Latin for, is it a million is gig? Giga? Anyway, whatever that is in Latin. But in this context, this was from Craze2 and Kyle Dustin Echoes, who both gave us the update on this, is that a gig is in fact a small boat. And the guy
questionably reliable.
I mean, I did validate this on Wikipedia.
Harbor, like, makes some amount of sense.
Yeah, it's like peanut butter and jelly. Like, I don't know why you're being doubtful.
I'm just mad because he took a turn.
Yeah, well, Isaiah's mad because one of those guys, being Kyle, happened to win one of the locals that Isaiah was competing at. We will actually talk about that event a little bit later. But first, gentlemen, we have some news. Now, Mike, last time I fairly confidently said that I don't think we're going to have more reveals to talk about on the next episode. And you said what?
You were going to be wrong.
Well, as is so often the case, yes, I was in fact wrong. So we're going to do, it is what it is. So we're going to do a little bit of screen sharing here.
Oh, the tech is immaculate.
And what'd you say, Isaiah?
The tech here, the slideshow tech is immaculate. I love it.
Oh yeah, this is the tech doesn't get any higher than this, and we do it all for the people. I could see. This is like a little bit of behind the scenes work. Listen, if you think that this does appreciably look worse, then please do feel free to tell us in the comments. I made this change when we did the Mandos episode because I was like, I cannot do that many overlays manually on the editing software.
It's actually like a real pain. The amount of work required to like layer all of that stuff is hours.
And I still do it for like tournament lists because that does look bad if you're just like ballooning up on a slideshow, at least in my opinion. Yeah. And so I do the overlays for those. But yeah, when it comes to with Mandalorians, I don't know how many stupid cars we had to go over for like that podcast, but it was
also a wild size launch, right? That was like
so
we say wild now, apparently there's bigger and better things coming, so
Mandalorians too.
That's actually a good thing to ask you quickly, Isaiah. What do you think is that thing that are you familiar with that Will Schick said?
Remind me the exact wording. It was like, there's
he said it'll be tough to beat Mandalorians, and he was talking about in the context of like excitement around a reveal. He said it'll be tough to beat Mandalorians, but if it is going to happen, then next Adepticon might be the time we will see. So, based on that, what do you think it is?
I think part of that is you always, you got to be hyping.
Like, part of it is corporate
they got to hype for it.
Yes,
So you can't rest on that. You got to kind of keep pushing. So
that is fair.
What do I think it is? I think it's probably some big. some big change in game is what I would expect. Something like my default thought is probably full scale war. Is possibly, but I didn't expect that to take that long after we got to play it at last Adepticon.
I actually am kind of surprised we haven't gotten it already too, to be honest. So I don't know how put together it felt. I didn't get to play it.
It felt pretty great. But it did feel there were edge things where it was like, that doesn't make sense, but it was mostly things that weren't congruent because it was written for the new rules that hadn't taken place yet, right? So like Caitlin noted there was an AI thing that made no sense in the current context of AI at the time, and she sort of leaned over to the developer who was overseeing us and went, what? And he goes,
that was because the AI rules were about to change but had not yet changed when Adepticon was happening.
You shouldn't see that. That's not good. And we went, oh no. So, I mean, I definitely some proofing and stuff, and the art. There was no art on any of the cards.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's not going to be art on the cards anyways.
Sorry, what?
Not going to be art anyways, right?
Well, there was art. They were all command cards. There will be
all new. Like there was a stack of probably 80 new command cards.
Oh, okay.
So I think that
that's where all our command cards went.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why Mace can only have one, is because they all went into the breakfast cereal known as Full Scale War.
Only one command card in that.
Oops, all command cards.
So I think maybe something like that, something that's game style, because I would be very interested in seeing, a new game modes, and I think that will generate the kind of hype. They've been big on, new Battle Force sort of stuff. I think could be cool. They made some comments a while back that we were getting more Battle Forces that I don't think has materialized yet.
Still waiting on that Geonosian.
Still waiting on Geonosians.
Geos, I could see. I mean, there's the generic Gungans win, but
well, you need an actual release for that one. And also, Gungans are not bigger than Mandalorians. Let's just put that out there, right? Because who cares?
I mean,
right.
I would really
who
enjoy.
Cares?
I would really enjoy Gungans coming out because then I get to kill Gungans.
Oh, okay. That's an acceptable answer. Yeah.
I don't know. I think Republic players everywhere could use, Gungans are the spice of life.
Clones, man. Give me more clones. Stop giving me these Jedi. Stop giving me these, don't even think about giving me Gungans. Give me some more clones. I want some different clones.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement that some more unique clones or more clones of any kind would be a cool thing. But
I just want cheaper clones.
I will just say real quickly that the one reason they could be waiting on Full Scale War is if there was some kind of a significant physical release that was tied into it. Mike was theorizing about an AT-AT. I still am not buying it from a scale perspective, but I would have said the same thing about Starfighters, and look where we are. So
direct flying vehicle,
direct flying vehicle plus that card and upgrade pack 2 that is completely blank as of right now, until an actual flying vehicle comes out. We will see. Plenty more time to speculate on that one, but until then. We have some new cards to talk about, and I guess for whatever reason Trent is coming up first, so that is going to be the first one that we are going to talk about. So direct flying vehicle, and as a reminder, this is a commander, and I'll say real quickly again, the reason we know about this is because of a Reddit post, and I guess there were unboxing videos that posted very quickly after that, but I'm not sure of the exact timing on this. The distribution system is just getting a little bit funky, and I think it's not super ideal that these reveals are coming from people posting their early open packs on Reddit, but it is what it is.
It's kind of hard to get around that though, since they don't control that network. Compared to Games Workshop, where they can say we're going to send it to Games Workshop. You're a GameStop or Games Workshop employee, right? We have a little bit more control.
Well,
they can get around it by posting their own articles before it would ever get to stores.
Just releasing early. I mean, that is true. Yeah.
I mean, the thing with Games Workshop is that most of their releases, you actually don't know they're happening until about a week before they go up for pre-order, and then you have a week or 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
It's a 3-week time frame. Generally, it's a preview article on I think 3 weeks before the actual release on that Saturday. Then a week after that, it goes up for pre-order, and then a week after that, it closes, and then it's just just there.
Which, while really good, I think is something that only Games Workshop can really pull off right now. I think it'd be much harder for any other game to. It would be a lot of LGSs are not going to do that, like not going to have that quick turnaround for something like Legion.
No, for sure.
Well,
And they still have tons of allocation issues.
Yeah. They own the the IP, and I think that they also own the production facilities that they have. I might be wrong about that. Somebody can correct me.
I'm pretty sure they also manage a lot of their own distribution.
Yeah.
I don't know how involved that is, but I know that we've dabbled as a shop that has sold Warhammer at particularly instances, and it seems like they handle their distribution mostly in-house for the most part.
If you go over to Warhammer World, they kind of have a little section about it that talks about that. And
interesting.
Kind of.
And whereas like AMG is part of a larger corporation that is licensing the IP, and they do their own distribution in Europe, but not outside of Europe, and they don't own their own, and they contract out for production. So it's like a much looser timetable for them. But anyway. We know about these two packs now, which is Admiral Trench and the B2 Super Rocket battle droids. So we're going to talk about both of those. Back to that Trench. He has direct flying vehicle, which will matter someday. Entourage Kraken, equip caught in a web. We'll get to that one in a second. And override. Those are the only 4 keywords that he has. As far as health goes, he has 5 health with 2 courage. He surges to hit with red defense dice, non-surging. He is speed 2. He has 2 weapons. One, he has a swagger stick, which is one of the better melee weapon titles. It's not quite as good as Tarkin's, but it's still pretty great. It's just 1 black die. I feel like this is another example where both with him and Tarkin, I feel like they could have and should have put suppressive on it just for flavor. But oh well, they decided not to. And then maybe the most interesting part of his actual unit card is the fact that he has the orbital strike weapon, and that is that it is range 4 to infinite.
He's a
3
sniper.
black die, and it is immune deflect with impact 3. And I think that it's probably necessary for us to talk about Caught in a Web before we sort of zoom back out. And while I'm doing that, Mike, if you wouldn't mind verifying what his slots are, I'm pretty sure he has 3 command slots, one of which has to be taken up by this. What else does he have?
He has a comms and a gear slot.
Comms and a gear, and he's 85 points, if I remember right.
He has 85 points, okay. That's correct.
All right, so Caught in a Web. Again, this has to be on him. So action, choose up to 2 enemy units within range 5 and in line of sight. Each unit gains 1 ploy token. Admiral Trench may make this action twice per activation. When an enemy trooper within range 5 and in line of sight that has 1 or more ploy tokens attacks an allied unit, you may spend 1 of those tokens. If you do, after the attack is resolved, the enemy unit gains 2 suppression tokens. So that is sort of like the baseline ploy token thing. But wait, there's more. We have his one and only command card. I smell fear and it smells good. We have seen this before, but it is important to remind folks of what it does. So it orders any 2 units. You choose up to 2 enemy units. Each unit gains 1 ploy token. And so that would happen in the command phase. This round, at the start of each allied unit's activation, you may choose an enemy unit that has 1 or more ploy tokens. If you do, remove 1 of those tokens and resolve 1 of the effects below. So you can still do it to gain 2 suppression tokens, or you can make it lose a green token, or you can put a face-up order token back into the order pool. So basically, what the command does is that it gives you 2 free additional ploy tokens in the command phase, and then during that turn, it expands what ploy tokens do, which importantly not only includes the ones that you deployed that turn, but also any that are there from turns before.
Because on the table.
Unless the rule book changes,
they do not clear.
Ploy tokens would not clear at the end of the round in the end phase the way that green tokens and observation tokens currently do. Okay, so that was a lot of stuff on Admiral Trench. And Isaiah, I want to go to you first. You play against CIS much of the time because you have the particular advantage of living with someone, that being your wife Caitlin, who you just get to play Legion at home, which is a pretty cool thing. Not many of us can claim to be able to do that. So, are you? I want you to tell me this. First of all, what does she think about Trench? And second of all, what would you think about having to face down Trench?
Her opinion on Trench hasn't been terribly concrete yet. We haven't played any games with which, granted, we actually haven't played very many games against each other in general in the last few months. But she is kind of like, she and I both have kind of been holding off on, for me, Jedi Council, and for her, the Separatist Alliance stuff, just because they're not going to be legal for the next GT that we're going to. So we're kind of practicing without them for now.
That's fair.
But as far as just like off the cuff feelings, I know that she's excited about him as an option. I don't think anything here kind of blew her away. The suppression play is fun. The suppression play, okay, so kind of shifting into my opinion. I think Separatists, if you were to drop this into a different faction, I'd be a little bit more afraid of it. But because Separatists are already not hurting for effective support commanders, it's a little bit undercut, right?
Yeah.
Not that this is bad. This is a very good. I think this is a good unit. I think that I think the sniper on the orbital strike is cool. I think that's cool. I'll put a bounty if you play a game where you kill a Anakin or a Dooku or a Yoda with a swagger stick. Send me a picture of it, and I'll buy you a drink next time I see you. That's amazing. But I'm not. I think that every list needs to have a way to deal with suppression as it stands, because I think it is a stat check that you just have to be able to do. I'm still not stoked that I don't feel like suppression is significant against CIS after the latest AI change, but I do feel like it is still, for the other factions out there, you still have to have a way to deal with suppression. And I don't think this changes to be more like, this does not open the door for CIS to be a bigger suppression bomb than like Empire is, right? So if I'm already prepared to deal with Empire, this doesn't particularly scare me.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. I think it's cool. I think it offers kind of some different play than what we have seen previously. The Entourage Kraken is interesting. I haven't really thought through all how that's going to impact the game. And like, clearly they want you to take those two together. And so I'm kind of like, do I want those two together, or do I, I don't know. I haven't decided on how I feel about that part of the kit yet. The one thing that I do like, I like a lot of the changes they have made with the order pools. In terms of making it a little bit harder to get perfect control with like the changes to improvised order, making it a little bit easier for things to get back in the bag, just for Separatists from Techno Force stuff and this, right? They can kick stuff back to the bag much easier. But I really think that we need to go back and have some of the old abilities that are dependent on face-up order tokens need to be reworded to be issued an order with this card and doesn't have a face-down token, right?
Aren't the easy obvious that way?
Sorry?
Aren't most of them that way at this point?
Yeah, most are. Most of the ones that have come out 2.6 or been handled recently have been changed to that. But like the easy examples like Captain Rex, right? Which I know is already kind of pretty in a bad spot, but like Call Me Captain this is one more thing that can just kick that out and say, all right, your face up goes away, right?
Oh, you're saying to keep the effect even if the order token goes away.
Yes. And there's a few other effects like that. That's the easy example for me that's I have ready off the top of my head, but I know there are a few other examples like that. And I just would like to see some of those change, because I do actually really like I can mess up your order control. But I shouldn't be able to mess up your command card effect. If you're playing a command card that does this super important thing, I shouldn't be able to mess that up, right? So I don't know. I find it interesting. I think it's fine. What was his point cost again?
He's 85.
85. That feels fine. He's a good fire support commander. He's a good like target for that. Direct flying vehicle probably is pretty good, because assuming they don't have any specific rules around ordering them, I could see that being a unit that you always want an order on. If it's a high value cost, unit, I could see that being something super important. So overall good, but nothing that really blows me away.
Okay, I think that's fair. Mike, how about you? Do you any opinions that are different from Isaiah's?
Yeah, I think I actually think I'm really high on this guy and also like really low in some ways. I think the keywords he has on his unit card are pretty much gonna be blank, I think. I think Entourage Kraken likely is not gonna do anything. I also think probably direct flying vehicle, obviously not knowing the rules, so take this with a grain of salt, but keeping your flying vehicle at range 2 of your guy in the back seems a little sus to me. Assuming that there's no thing that like maybe you can, I don't know, maybe flying vehicles you're allowed to like issue orders at any range or something from any effect, but direct has a range of 2, right?
I'm a little skeptical on defining with that because the models we've seen don't have bases, right? So I'm a little bit. I agree with you as an additional adjustment, but there's a pretty big asterisk next.
There's a total big asterisk there. So, but assuming that it works in any way, like it's like close to like how a T-47 might operate, that keyword feels kind of blank to me outside of like turn 1 or maybe turn 2. You know,
it's certainly going to be blank for at least like 6 months.
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
That's the other part about this. That's
yeah.
And then I think I actually love the ploy token thing. I wish there was more of this in Legion generally.
Yeah.
I think it's very creative. I actually think I really like that the upgrade card allows you to set the command card up, and so that it's completely possible to like, you know, let's say you give your Admiral Trench recon intel, right? Because that's the thing you can do, and you scout him onto the board turn 1, and you just take the card action twice, hand out like 2 ploy tokens to a unit, and then you continue just kind of like tossing ploy tokens on like 1 or 2 very specific units they have, and then on turn 4 or 5 you play I Smell Fear. It smells good. You toss 1 more ploy token on each of them. They might each have like somewhere between 3 and 4 ploy tokens. At that point, you can start spending them in interesting ways, mostly, I think, to trigger the bottom 2 effects. You flip their order tokens back into their pool so that your opponent doesn't have control of when they go. You wait until those units go, and then you rip all the rest of your ploy tokens to panic them.
Yeah. And so in that way, you can just panic Yoda, for instance.
You could panic any Yoda unit in the game that doesn't have infinite courage, assuming you have enough ploy tokens, and assuming they, you know, don't have like serious amounts of suppression mitigation. But like, because there's no like real like range restriction on this, range 5 is like pretty reasonable to like hit most things on the board. Like, panicking a unit off a back point with this card that's like, you know, let's say it's like a sniper team or something. You know, the command card doesn't
very strong.
It's super strong. It doesn't require line of sight on the command card. So, and to actually spend the ploy tokens, like it, you know, the upgrade card requires line of sight at the time that the ploy token goes down. But after that, even if they move out of the line of sight or whatever, like it doesn't matter. You still have to do the thing. I think that this rewards really careful planning play, which I think to some degree the game has lost a little bit on the entry into 2.6. I like that they're injecting it back here. I am a little bit suspect on whether this effect on its own is good enough to reward a play style like that, in contrast to some of the aggressive styles we've been seeing. I think is my main issue with Trench. He is the same points cost as Kalani, and I think Kalani just does like, he's in the same slot, does a lot of the same thing. He does, you know, he's got direct, has exemplar, has strategize, like has like pretty sweet command cards. I also think one of the other things we haven't talked about with Trench here is that he brings For the Cause with him. You know, obviously that's a Separatist Alliance global command card, but it does come alongside Trench. and that card is also very good. It issues 1 order to a commander and 2 to operatives, and everybody that's issued an order gains a surge token.
Just an objectively
and it's as a 1 pip. And
it's just it's like whoa.
Yeah. Yet another command card that feels better than any of the Jedi Council cards to me.
But again,
I want to talk about that one separately because I do have opinions on that.
Yeah, I think. But again, if you want to take an 85-point commander, and you have For the Cause, Kalani, definitely just better for Exemplar and all that shenanigans, right?
So that part is true.
I think Trench is likely a little overpriced. I think, given his kit and what he does on the table, but probably not by a ton. I think I would put he's definitely less effective player outside of the ploy token thing than Leia is, by a lot. I think we can all say that pretty confidently. If you're not doing the ploy token thing, do not take Trench. It is literally a waste of time.
Yeah, the play tokens are his thing, and I won't add too much because I think I generally agree with both of you, and I do wish that there could almost be a temporary fire sale on Admiral Trench while we literally don't even have an option for a direct flying vehicle to actually get utility out of what would likely be a pretty important keyword on him. And you think about direct anything is not something that is given out lightly, except to Mandalorian customized
unless you're playing Separatists.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. I forgot about that one. I guess it only costs 8 points at the end of the day. Anyway, but yeah, without that, 85 does feel a little bit much. And yeah, your 2 tricks are ploy and infinite range 3 dice attacks.
I would be interested to see what he feels like if he waits till turn 4 to drop the I Smell Fear, and he hasn't spent any of the ploy tokens, and he just has them. There's a world where I could see that being a late game. Oh, okay, I just don't get to.
The game might just be over. It literally could be over. Yeah.
Think about it's not recover the supplies anymore. The supplies one where you have to wait until round 4 or 5 to get the full scoring of it when your trooper is carrying the supply box. And then because once you have that box, there's no way to give it away other than being panics. You can't manually drop it. But what Trench could do is just start piling ploy tokens on there, and then to basically make you on round 3 would be the time to do it. Would be to just make them drop all their stuff. Because then you would potentially be blocking them. You could do, if you did that with your last couple activations on round 3 to just panic a box carrier, then it would mean that they would have to grab it on round 4 and they therefore wouldn't be able to score it. And you could be causing some disasters for your opponent. I think Trench is really going to go well with the objectives that require you to carry stuff around. Because he can just sort of time it to where you are no longer carrying that thing around. So, your surface scan, hostage, things like that. I think that he's potentially going to be really good for that. But again, those are the 2 things that he does. This is sort of the first support commander that isn't a Republic command that isn't Padme.
Some version of a super tech.
Yeah. Or some version of the super tech, even though those can fight also, so I don't even think of them as support commanders really. Except for most of these other guys, your Veerses, your Throns, they have Exemplar, and Trench doesn't. And Trench also doesn't have a way that he would naturally get tokens anyway. So
I think that's good though, right? It fills a different role rather than another Exemplar thing.
He's the opposite of Exemplar. Yeah, He isn't really doing anything to help your side aside from direct and entourage, which are 2 very specific things, and it's all just about screwing your opponent over, which actually does feel pretty thematic for Trench at the end of the day.
I do.
Yeah.
I am really big on, there's something here that we haven't touched too much on yet that is amazing, because I feel like red save armies have kind of gotten a lot of counters to their defensive tech, and white save armies haven't as much, specifically rebels, with like nimble and like dodge generation and nimble. This is one of the first things that we're seeing outside of high velocity that really can turn off a nimble chain, right? With the, hey, you lose a green token, which I'm actually very hot on. I think that's, I'm pretty excited about that, because
I'd be more excited if I wasn't aware of just how many stupid tokens the Mandalorians are just going to have.
I was going to say, please go ahead, take away one of my
take
tokens.
One. I've got more.
Yes, and in Mandos that can be. There's some world where in Mandos that can be busted, but
it's good against Rebels, though. I agree with you on that.
I think that it gives us some defensive, like it is a way to turn off defensive tech that otherwise we've really not had a way to turn off outside of high velocity, and that wasn't something anyone else could give anyone else. It's not like, oh, I have high velocity here, borrow my gun. It's like, hey, here you don't have a dodge anymore. That's great. Like Hondo did it kinda, but for one unit, right? And so this is, I like this. I like that a lot, because it won't always be useful, but hey, it's something that rebels have to be aware of. So they can't just be like, my defensive tech is on and it's on forever now, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I could see this also. It is really important to note here that this is like one of very few ways to add a copious amount of suppression tokens to units that are locked in melee. And when you pile that on top of Slice Comms,
okay, which is another good way to do it. Exactly.
You know, we start to enter a realm of like, Slice Comms already very good without needing any extra help, but all of a sudden, you know, Trench can come in here and start assisting in the piling suppressions on units that are normally completely safe from suppression mechanics, outside of like Demoralize, which generally is not used in spades.
It's pretty restricted, yeah. And this is, we are getting a little bit close to an insta-win condition here. If you play Bring Them to Heal with this card, or with Trench, that's kind of an auto-win.
There's going to be a lot of lists that are going to just like they're going to have Bring Them to Heal in their deck, because they have a way to just like score it with very little effort. And you know, when you consider just like piling on sniper shots or
overwhelm,
or you know, using the 3-point overwhelm anti-personnel upgrade on top of an already suppressive weapon. You know, Mike was talking about just like putting that on your 3 clone mortars, and then just like taking care of business for Bring Them to Heal whenever you need to. And then there's this, and also the new Dark Side, Despair, where that is potentially also going to be piling on a lot of suppression tokens.
Suppression got big.
Yeah, suppression is big. Isaiah, you wanted to say one more thing about the command card, which I'll put that on the screen in post, just to remind folks what it is.
About the
a couple weeks ago.
Generic separatist that isn't actually tied to separate leaders of the
It comes in
line.
the box.
It comes in the box,
but
but
it's not tied to any of the
actually
leaders.
tied.
Exactly. Yeah.
You are part of the Separatist Alliance, but you are not part of the
irony compared to the Jedi Council pack is
I am
palpable.
actually very excited about this, not because of this card, because I don't want Caitlin to have more nice things, but I am really excited about this because this is a completely unrestricted new 1-pip for a faction. I want to see more of that. We've, historically had you have the one of every slot for each faction, and some of those suck. Some of those really suck. And it would be really cool if every faction had, here's a bunch of cards that are all not, like, they should never be better than a character card. They should all be, I don't want them to be insanely overpowered, because they need to be kind of low in strength, because they give out, their generics. But could be dang cool that I could build my army and have a little bit more flavor, have a little bit more like, okay, I actually, it's not, oh, you brought this character, so I know you have their cards, and then you have the 3 generics. Like
somebody should tell the Mandalorians and Imperial High Command that they shouldn't be better than character cards. Is the only thing that I would say.
Yeah, I know.
I
just want a different Gar 1-pip, man. That's all I want.
Oh, the guard
so
the guard
bad.
situation,
It's worse than the Separatist one. They're identical, except for the Gar one is worse in every way because it can be blocked in ways that the Separatist one can't. It's fine. It's fine.
Our vehicles are also a lot worse.
Yeah,
I would argue.
Yeah, and yeah, the Gar ones are sort of a disaster. Even attack the clones. Attack
the clones is fine.
You're not allowed to. You're basically not allowed to play a clone only list in the current game environment.
That's true.
So that part feels tough. All right, let's talk about more droid talk. This time with an actual droid. So the B2 Super Rocket Battle Droids, the expansion that we did not even know was going to be an expansion until the pre-order page dropped for it, which, again, a welcome surprise, but it's pretty interesting that it happened this way. But we now have the reveal for that. So as we've mentioned before, this is a heavy. The base unit size of this is 4. And so this has now replaced the Aqua Droid as the most populous, or I guess that it's going to be tied with Dark Troopers maybe in terms of the most minis that you can get into a heavy unit.
Dark Troopers heavy droid troopers?
No, they're just regular troopers.
Okay.
They're heavy rank though.
Right. Yeah, I was just wondering if this was the first non-heavy trooper in.
The Dark Troopers are regular they're regular droid troopers, not the heavy droid troopers. This is yet again where words are coming into play in Star Wars Legion. We will talk more about that after this segment. But yeah, the B2 Super Rocket Battle Droids baseline 4 is a regular droid trooper. They have Jump 2 as a full action. They have AI attack and Target 1. Which is actually not something that's, I guess for the customizable super attack has Target 1, but usually I feel like they kind of try to stay away from target and defend on droids because it's so easy to just get those orders out there. Yeah. But anyway, this guy has it. Weapon-wise, twin arm battle cannons. It is range melee to 2 with 2 black dice, so in that way it is the same as the regular B2 sort of standard weapon. But this one also has Overwhelm added to it. So we were just talking about the fact that suppression's got more powerful.
Because why not?
Yeah, why not? Each one of these has 2 health and is Courage 2 with non-surging either way. So in that way, it is also the same as a B2. But an important difference, and this is actually one where on the TFT Discord, I was initially actually kind of down on these guys because I didn't even bother to look at the bottom right portion of the unit card. But their
sloppy
speed
journalism.
3, yeah, it was sloppy journalism on my part. I'll admit that any day of the week. Their speed 3 naturally. So that is the actual answer to what is the sort of rocket part about this. Not only having jump 2, but being speed 3. So they're pretty zippy. They are going to baseline cost 94 points. They have a heavy slot, a personnel slot, a comm slot, and a gear slot, which is also actually only something that the super attacks of various types have had access to up to this point in droids.
Magna.
Magna has gear?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Nope, wrong line.
Yeah, sorry. The funny enough, though, the both Wheelbike Grievous and the Timu Wheelbike generic do also have gear slots. That is, of course, how they get their recon intel. Mm-hmm. But yeah, these guys do have it. We'll talk about that and what that means in a little bit. But upgrades wise, first upgrade I'll talk about is on the bottom right. That is the B2 Ha. I think this is the same as the other B2 Ha, which is that it is a 2 red, 1 white, blast and impact 2. I guess the other one doesn't have impact. I
think the other one is just blast. I
yeah,
the other one does have impact too.
It does. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Live corrections. And like the other one, it exhausts, but it does have cycle, and it is range 2 to 3. So you're not going to be doing any melee or range 1 attacks with that one. But then also we have, for 24 points, a double-sided upgrade card, which is something that we occasionally see. Like we have the commando weapon, we have like offensive defensive stance, but not something that we see super duper often. And this one is actually a little bit different from those because there is not an in-game flip mechanic, which means that from a rulebook perspective, this is covered in the rulebook, by the way, that you decide on deployment which side it's going to be on. And so for the first side is the anti-infantry missile pod rocket droid. That is range 1 to 2, anti-personnel 2, scatter, and 4 white dice. And then the other side is the anti-armor missile pod rocket droid, which is range 1 to 3, anti-material 3, impact 3, and 3 white dice. So you put it all together, and this is the Super Rocket Battle Droid. So once again, Isaiah, I am going to go to you first. What are your initial thoughts about these guys?
I'm Mondo hot on them. I think these are pretty amazing.
I think these are pretty good.
Speed 3 is a game changer for B2s. The big trade-off with B2s is that they don't get to hit turn 2 all the time. Sometimes they just don't get to, and that sucks. Or you're having to position them more aggressively turn 1 so that they can hit turn 2. Or you're having to bring a super attack. You're having to do some shenanigans so that they can move. The speed 3 and the jump is a game changer. That is so good for B2s. They're a little bit more expensive per body. I think these are 23 dot something and base B2s are 21 dot something. But I think you more than get the value out of it. I'm very, very, very hot on these guys. The target 1 and overwhelm is just nice to haves. It's just good. I'm trying not to be salty because Seps are getting another really cool toy. But this is another, it kind of similar to that 1 pip card. This is something else that I really want to be in the game. The double-sided card. They need to be priced expensively because flexibility at the time of which I get to see my opponent's list is awesome, right? And I love that as a game mechanic where it's like, hey, I'm paying a little bit extra and I can either have some anti-impact or some anti-personnel. And you combine that anti-impact with tank hunting munitions. I mean, that's impact 5. That's mean. I'm big on that, but I don't know. I think that these are going to be pretty dang good. It's obviously a very competitive slot between Aquas and Persuaders and now Gavs, and I still think AATs are really good. It's a competitive slot, and if you'd told me they were going to be heavy, it's like, oh, that's crazy that we're going to get a release that's never going to get played. And now I'm like, oh man, I think I would take these.
You meant Wheelos, not Gavs, by the way.
Sorry, that's Wheelos, not Gavs.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Wheelos significantly better right now, but yeah, it's sort of. I do. I like the double-sided thing a lot, and I do think that this is. These feel, obviously they work very differently, but I think that the excitement and interest around these is sort of similar to what Republic had when Commandos were first revealed. Which is that like this is just like this unit that can get in there and do like a lot of damage, and like the Commandos, they have this sort of variable option in terms of the weapon you're using. Like Mike, tell me this. So, like, while the B2HA has had its place in Legion many times in the past, I'm looking at this situation and I'm like, I would rather just take the other guy like every time. Am I off on that?
No, I don't think so. I think you take just for the versatility.
Yeah.
Being able to construct an answer at the table. I do think that guy is definitely,
and the 6 points.
Yeah, it's 6 points less
for sure,
and it doesn't have to exhaust to use it. So it's like so many advantages,
Yeah, I think this is a weird spot in Separatists, in that I think that they have a slew of really awesome options in the heavy slot.
Yeah, they really do.
Which is, I see this unit in Aqua Droids kind of like when you want a unit that can do a type of thing that either of these units do, like I'm not actually sure that you're going to take this instead of Aquas. I think people are going to try it, see how it goes. They definitely have some things that they are better at from a flexibility standpoint with the jump and the speed 3. But Aquas, I think, are still definitely a better alpha unit in general, with infiltrate, being able to move and then shoot. The B2s are still going to probably not be shooting on turn 1. However, I would like to just demonstrate some cost comparisons between these B2 super rocket battle droids and Clanker's veterans.
Oh, I know. Wow, surprise. Go ahead, Mike. What's the comparison?
Yeah, so Clanker's veterans 120, the B2 super rocket battle droid with the rocket pod upgrade is 118, so it's a 2-point difference. Both of them have jump, both of them are speed 3, both of them have range 2 profiles. It should be noted that the B2 super rocket droid at that point has it's throwing 12 dice and probably has several aim tokens. They're probably like very similar in offensive capability at that juncture.
Probably, yeah.
I'm not sure which one technically has a leg up there, but when you get to the defensive side of that stat block, the Clanker's unit has 5 health. The B2 super rocket battle droid has 10. And yes, are you going to like earn a health back on the surge sometimes? For sure. Is it anywhere close to being like the same price as what things should and shouldn't cost? No, it is not.
Clanker is too expensive.
Yes, I just but I mean, I think also that goes for all of the 5-man Mando Special Forces units. When you compare it to this unit, something looks very not right. I
do think that part stings and is fair, but I think that this unit actually probably does feel appropriately costed. That's kind of my gut reaction, and which is to say that you're not saying that it's undercosted. I think we're both saying that Clanker's is probably like too much.
This unit is like effectively like a super squad defensively for like a little bit more cost, and it's in a slot where you can bring the price down a little bit. But I
think the missile pod heavy might be a little bit undercosted.
That's
I think the base unit is fine. I don't understand why the missile pod is cheaper than the
scatter. Is insane. The scatter is actual insanity.
The scatter is. But just the ability to respond to your I played in 2 out of the 3 games I played this weekend. I had 3 instances of tank hunting munitions, and those were wasted because I didn't have my opponent didn't have a vehicle.
Yep.
And the ability to go I gotta say I think that's worth a lot. And I know that a lot of people would look at that if it was priced higher and not think that.
Mm.
But I think that being able to tailor my list in runtime is huge.
I do think 118 is a lot when you're comparing them against Aquas. It is an extra 12 points for this unit. They're obvious. I'm not actually sure they're defensively better. It's 10 health versus 12 and armor.
I think they're worse.
Yeah, I think they're worse than Aquas defensively. I think offensively, I don't know.
Offensively, technically doing better, but also no round 1 attack capability. Hurts you over the course of the game.
I don't think it has to be an either or thing. I think you might take one of these and one of your choice, which might be an Aqua.
I will say that I'm actually looking a little bit less at the 118 version, and I don't know the math off the top of my head because I have the PowerPoint blown up in front of me, but I would be more curious about what it is when I add actually 3 more upgrades and fill the slots, so to speak, which is to say I would be adding a T-Series and adaptive comms and precision scopes. And I think that this is one of the relatively few units where I saw the upgrade slots and I look at the upgrade options and I'm like, oh, there's like actually a way to really fill this out in a way that is quite nice and synergistic. Because from a precision scopes perspective, like that's something that sometimes Empire players or maybe like a Bosk player who has more points than they know what to do with will put that on there. Otherwise, it's like not too commonly take an upgrade. And the CIS normally has really good access to aims, but it's just that they don't have good access to big attack pools with a gear slot pretty much ever until now. But like at baseline, if these guys have an order and if you have adaptive comms, which is going to trigger, then you're just going to like have two aims really commonly. And oftentimes you're going to have more than that because you're going to be on tactical download or you're going to have an exemplar aim to spend. And then all of a sudden you're talking about like very heavily modified attack pools that are also very big. And so I think that like even if at baseline the offensive capability is like not all that different from an Aqua Droid because of the lack of surging, but when you add in the aim access, it could actually be substantially better for what is a if you have the T series, that's a 13 dice pool. The other thing that I actually neglected to put another upgrade card on here, because you can just like use that personnel slot for an extra B2 rocket battle droid. I think that's 24 points also.
It is 21 points, which is what I thought you were going to go with, because I was questioning why you were doing the T series for 3 points less that has 1 red instead of 2 black.
Because you're getting a surge token.
Yeah, but you're also losing health. And you're losing AI, which is bad.
Well, losing AI will often be bad. I guess that would actually probably be the best reason to not put a T series in there. But the
I love how we're like, AI got fixed 3 months ago. Also, please don't take AI off my units.
Sorry, AI did get improved, but it is still better to have it than to not have it. I hate to say.
The issue is that the AI that's on these cards are things you want to do anyway. It needs to be AI something I don't want to do.
Sort of, although AI attack can mess you up if, like, especially for a short range unit like this. So, because you would be really sad if AI attack triggered when, you know, a speed 3 move would have gotten you into the zone of doing stuff. So I do think that unless you have a comprehensive order solution that you would want to have some override around, but that's easy enough anyway because custom super attacks have override.
Well, and also, I don't know that you want to be in melee with them. I think you like the rocket droid is enough reason to stay out of melee with them. That's a nice pool.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you're not trying to be in melee, but you are trying to be at range 2. And so, and like, yeah, with snipers out there, like they could get suppressed with with no effort. And then if there's not an override around and they don't have a face up, then all of a sudden, like, they're in a bad way. So AI attack does still matter. It's like when you have the AI move, it basically doesn't matter at all. But, I think these guys are really strong. And oh yeah, here's one more thing. I hope that Rapid Interdiction has access to them. Because they have 3 heavy slots, and I just think that would be a fun thing to do, and it would go along with the theme there.
What heavies do they have in Rapid Interdiction?
Just AAT.
Ooh, I would like this. This would be fun.
Yeah, I think that having, and the AAT doesn't really even make all that much sense in the context of Rapid Interdiction because it's not like a particularly, like, it's technically fast because of how big the butt is on that thing.
You could run 3 of these. That'd be gross.
Yeah, and while it is true that you wouldn't be able to really take advantage of the speeding up aspect of the RIF Battle Force because they're already speed 3, but they could at least get some free dodges out of it. I mostly just want them to be a part of the available army for them more than them getting a really advantage from the Battle Force rules. So anything else about B2 Supers before we move on?
They're fun. They're good.
Droids get all the good stuff, man.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think, like, putting these two things together, CIS, which was already having a pretty good time, all of a sudden they have even more options. And so, like, I think we are genuinely happy for CIS players that they get to have these 2 expansions. Maybe Mike's not. Yeah, Isaiah, maybe you.
I'm not wearing my wedding ring today
either.
on purpose because I'm mad about this.
But hey, like, the good news is that for Republic players, maybe the BART guys will be what you've been looking for.
I feel like we just, every time we're like, the next thing will help you. We promise it'll be the next thing. And then the next thing comes and we'll be, no. It's the next thing.
Next year,
they're going to change the world.
Yeah. Hey man, sometimes you just really need a melee ARP unit,
Yeah. Just ask Obi-Wan Kenobi. Anyway, we're gonna move on to another bit of news. This is a shorter one, but Michael, how about you take the floor here to explain why some of us were questioning the way that Go for Broke actually worked in Star Wars Legion.
Yeah, so Go for Broke, obviously one of the new upgrade cards. Go for Broke has 2. Sorry, I'm like pulling it up right now and trying to make sure that I have the text in front of me. 2 clauses on it that are, at least as it reads, like on the card, but also separate. The first clause is, during the remove token step, if this unit has 1 or more suppression tokens, it may choose to not remove suppression tokens. Period.
That's important.
If Isaiah. It does not remove any suppression token, choose 1 green token on this unit. The chosen token is not removed. It does not imply, the second clause is in as it is worded on this card, is not implied to be dependent on the first clause. However, there was a forum clarification, I guess, saying that the intent of this card is that in order to trigger the second clause, you have had to have triggered the first clause. Which is to say that in order to use the effect of this card at all, you must have had a suppression token on it already. I would say that is not what this card actually says in the English language.
Mike is correct.
And by like rules, like as we understand them, I am totally on board with the, okay, that's the intent of the card. Great. But I do think that this actually requires an errata as opposed to a formula.
Yeah, I hope they actually. Yeah,
I think the errata is just that's a colon instead of a period, because I think a colon does make that a target of the object of.
Yeah, I think that would work even if it's like a little bit sloppy English, but that would technically work.
I think that it without just getting very verbose in saying. Yeah. If you were able to remove a suppression and chose not to, if you put a colon there and it's part of the same sentence, it all falls under the if this unit has 1 or more suppression tokens, right? Because that is still part of the same sentence. Or you just put, you could also just put if this unit has more than 1 suppression token, colon there, and then the rest of it is all, a conditional statement, right?
Yes, the if. There's several uses of the word if on this card. The if should have been the first thing on the card, and then there should have been a then conditional on the second clause. That's like really what should have happened here.
Or if you just put I think, and this is one of those things where it gets a little bit away from English and a little bit into what is kind of accepted formatting. Yeah. I think if you had a space between if this unit has 1 or more suppression tokens and then the entire separate block, while technically not distinct English wise, I think that looking at that as a person who plays the game, I'm going to very instinctively go, okay, got it. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is all a conditional statement under this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, one way or the other, I think most people probably, including even us when we were reading the card for the first time, without really gazing deep into the English part of it, had assumed that you did have to fail to remove a suppression in order to keep the token. But at least now it's clear. That's the way I read it.
That is also the way I read it. Yeah.
Mike is right. I do want to just sort of say that Mike is correct that. If you're reading this in a gamer, which is to say, using the actual English language of what sentences mean,
trying to tell you,
and again, Mike is talking if you have ever played a collectible card game, this stuff comes up all the freaking time.
Yeah, gamer.
but it does technically basically say that all you have to do is not remove a suppression token.
Yes.
And which would also be the case if you never had any in the first place. But that has been clarified.
Did not remove a suppression token in that circumstance.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So, it's fine. I think it is relevant. I think this card is a lot worse with that conditional attached to it than I think we originally talked about it. I don't know how much worse it actually is. I think it's still takeable on some units. But it's a lot less attractive, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. If it wasn't for the fact that, for instance, Republic is spending all the surge tokens it has anyway.
Republic, I see a lot of people being like, and Isaiah, I don't know if you agree with this or not, but I see a lot of Republic players being like, yeah, I'm going to do the go for broke thing. And it's like, you don't have tokens at the end of the turn, man. Like, if you have tokens at the end of the turn, you're winning, or you didn't roll any surges.
You might have dodge tokens sometimes, maybe, but surge tokens, no.
I'm not sold that that's true 100% of the time, but I think the time that's most often not true is turn one, right?
Yeah,
I think turn one, there's some banks that you can build that are pretty wild. And I've been playing around with that with some vigilance stuff. But outside of turn one, it gets pretty hard to not just burn through the battery. There's no good generation. There's no battery.
Yes, and I think the issue there is that like if turn one is the order turn you're targeting, like you're pretty likely to not have a suppression token on turn one,
unless I have a way to generate
you
for my
compel with Mace Windu.
You still have to have a suppression token in order to use compel. Evan.
Oh, okay. There you go. There goes that idea. Man.
So
I was
bad.
Slaughtered.
So bad
on live podcasts. I'll also mention that a forum ruling that I asked a little bit earlier today, so I don't think that they've even had a chance to see it yet. This one is more just like sort of funny than being real, but the other technical item that is still quote unquote live from this upgrade pack is that with Adaptive Comms Network,
so stupid.
The way that it is worded, it does not refer to either allied or opposing copies of Adaptive Comms Network. And so if two CIS players that have armies chock full of it are facing off against each other, then they would theoretically be in a game of chicken to cause the first wounds.
That is 100%
and of course that will
happen.
And so I'm sure that, for instance, before Evergreen Open happens in the next week, I am sure that question will be answered. But for any tournaments that have happened technically illegally since before now that we're using Upgrade Pack 2, I'm curious about how judges actually ruled it, if that ever happened.
There's no way somebody rules that as I can tap my.
But Isaiah, that's literally what the card says. It says that if a unit with that upgrade gets wounded, then you can tap your stuff.
There's
it
no
doesn't
way
say opposing.
I think we can all agree that
allied, I should say.
Probably supposed to have the word allied.
It's supposed to have the word allied in there, probably. Yeah,
but. Yeah, that's not what it says.
I mean, if you want to get technical, if you have two CIS players against each other, those B1s would be on the same network. Now, why are they fighting each other?
You're getting to the point where you're going to say things like, well, so my dug in, I'm completely within your allied territory, and that's someone's allied territory, so I get dug in, right?
No, because that's referring to your allied territory.
It doesn't say yours.
It
says it's within allied territory, and that is an allied territory.
Okay, but your opponent's territory is not allied.
Yeah, there's actually a definition for that.
The allied has a definition.
And more importantly, there's a definition for enemy territory, right?
Just watch your step when you're hanging out on this podcast and you're talking to Mike and I, okay? Because we just sort of been around slightly longer than you have, and
yeah, you're old.
Evan,
oh, ouch.
He's not Brian Barry. You're not allowed to be grumpy with him.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I apologize, but the Adaptive Comms Network thing, I think we all know what that's going to be, but it is pretty funny until then. Just the idea that by somebody making the first move, that all of a sudden 20 aims appear on the table.
It's the Spider-Man meme.
No, you. All right. So next topic. We getting back to a little bit of Gar talk.
That was a super unsmooth transition, Evan.
I'm sorry. I usually try to do better. We're going to be backtracking by 2 episodes to talk a little bit more about Jedi Council because Isaiah, you are somewhat known for having taken a certain Jedi that was not super commonly being played at the time.
Yeah.
And some would say that you won the World Championships with that Jedi. And
some would make a factually true statement, yes.
Yeah. Now, I do want to also give you a chance real quickly on this point because last episode I did quote you from our Discord conversation after Upgrade Pack 2 came out on whether any of that stuff made you more interested in Obi-Wan again. Has your opinion changed since then, which is to say that it had not?
Not largely. I'll be honest, I haven't gotten all the way through the last episode yet because we're recording this pretty quickly after the last episode came out. But
it's okay, I forgive you this time.
I largely feel like Obi-Wan hasn't changed much. I'd like to give him another go with some of the new Force powers. I do think that like a multi-Jedi army has become much more appealing to me.
Sure.
And kind of what I said to you was I think there might be some play with him there, though your counter was, okay, but would you not just rather have, 2 of the other Jedi?
Yeah, somebody else
probably.
That's cheaper. Yeah.
Ceresu's still very, very good.
Sure.
I wonder if treating him like if you just drop Ceresu or drop Guardian off his card, if he's actually not, just hey, I go over here and I hold a point. Okay. I don't know.
I think he costs too much for that.
Yeah, he's very expensive.
Yeah. But we did want to get your opinion on the new Jedi, and I know that you haven't like been proxying them because you're preparing for Evergreen Open where they're not going to be legal. But
correction, they will be legal at Evergreen Open.
Oh, they will be? Oh yeah, I guess assuming they come out on time
at Evergreen Open.
Yeah,
I am not planning on running them.
Sure.
It's sort of an awkward space because they come out the day that Evergreen opens.
Right.
Start. And the issue with them being legal there is no game store within travel range that opens before the first round starts.
Yeah, because
the only way you could have them is if someone breaks street date, and that's
so that would be kind of wild if somebody found a way to get this. I would be impressed. But given that you haven't really been proxying with them, but I'm sure you've spent time thinking about them. We had a little conversation about this when we were playing yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
Mike and I were, like, to sum it up, I would basically say that we were both pretty warm on Plo, both as a unit and as an upgrade, like very hot on him as an upgrade card. Shakti we like as a unit more for her Makeshi-ness and just like being a killer of men than necessarily the mercenary interactions, which seems like it's a little bit
of men.
Yeah,
killer of men.
That with that part, it seems like it's the jury was still a little bit out to us. And then getting somewhat colder to Kiadi, especially for the upgrade card on Kiadi, but also for the unit card. And then our opinions on Mace are very well documented by this point. So this is your chance to be the voice of difference and to like maybe cast a different light on these guys. So you have the floor. Where are we not seeing something, Isaiah?
Mace Windu will be in the 2027 World Champion list. I'm kidding. I don't know.
There's no way.
Yeah. No, there's no way. I'll put my finger down on that one.
Okay, so going from, I'll start with Mace. I'm not as cold on him, and this is something you and I talked about, and I might be very wrong here. I could be very wrong, but I would like to try to play with him a little bit more on some higher POI count objectives, because I think that his ability to lock down, if you give him push and clairvoyance, it is very, very hard to kill him. And I'm wondering if he is, he's 200 points at that point, 215 points.
Mm-hmm.
But if he can handle a flank side all on his own, yeah, okay, and it becomes very, you give him clairvoyance, and he really, it seems to me at least, would be very, very hard to kill. I haven't played with it yet. You and I were kind of talking about this yesterday. I think the biggest crime of Mace Windu is that he's boring. I actually am not convinced he's bad. I haven't played him enough to know yet, and I think there might be play there, but it is a boring. It's boring.
He's a beast. He is statistics.
Yeah, he's
nothing but statistics.
Nothing there is really fundamentally changing the game. Nothing's really exciting in your new way of play. I will say I do get he's kind of boring. So that is the biggest issue I have with Mace Windu. But I would like to see if there's some play with him with push and clairvoyance and just that, and he goes off on the side and he does that. I'll go through all of them as units, and then I'll go to unit leaders. K.I. Mundi next. I actually am kind of excited about the idea of a Yoda Mundi list because I like the idea of Mundi with Saber Throw as the target of Yoda's 2-pip. I've found that Yoda with Saber Throw is kind of disgusting against a lot of higher armor lists when it's, all right, cool, 2 red impact, 2 pierce 2, 2 red impact, 2 pierce 2. And being able to double that and do Mundi with, hey, impact 2, pierce 2, impact 2, pierce 2, or pierce 1, sorry, impact 2, pierce 1, impact 2, pierce 1 is pretty gross. I mean, that's I think that could be really good. I'm not sold, but I know a lot of people are comparing him to Yoda and going, well, why would you ever take it? Well, because if you're taking something else where you need the command cards, he does not need command cards. Yoda, if you take Yoda and don't take the command cards, I'm really excited to play against you. So but if you take, sorry, go ahead.
I do want to ask the question, because foundationally you're still building a Yoda list at that juncture in the example you've given. How do you feel about Ki-Adi? Because at the end of the day, I do think that these commanders do need to stand on their own a little bit. From these are 150 plus point commanders in a faction where things are expensive, right? Do you see a world where you're feeling okay about taking Ki-Adi on his own?
He would probably not be my choice if I was taking him alone. Yeah. I don't think he's that is a tough argument, and I can definitely feel and understand that critique. I think that's very, very valid. I do think, though, I mean, if you need somebody who doesn't need their command cards, he does have all the things that Yoda doesn't have on his card. He has charge, he has move to, he has the things that Yoda needs his command cards to give him. Yep. So I think there might be some play there. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I try to build a list with it and I get to 8 activations and I hate it, right? Maybe it's not as good as I'm thinking there might be room for, but I would like to at least see Mundi. In the operative space, I actually am very hot on both Shakti and Plo. Plo I can start when that's a bundle of value. He's good. He's just good. I mean,
Plo's really good.
You could strip half those keywords off of his card and he'd still be good.
he's so many keywords.
I'm not sure I agree with that, but
there's a lot there, man. The inspire and direct and defend and distract for free, and which if it wasn't free, distract would be, I think, basically pointless. But distract for free, and his lightsaber's a little bit lackluster, but man, I think he's good. I think Plo is just dang good. And of the cards, I could see there being some play where you can build lists that otherwise don't exactly make sense. For example, bringing arcs back. My biggest thing with arcs is you have to have a delivery mechanism for him. Sure. He can be a delivery mechanism. It's almost reverse Guardian, where it's hey, I can't protect you, but I can make sure you don't get shot at, right? I can pick. I'm not super familiar with distract because it's not a very common keyword, right? But can it go on anyone as a target? It's troopers only?
Okay. I believe it's troopers only, but
it sounds like it should be troopers only, but I think we should probably live verify that.
There's a range 1 to 2 restriction, and
it is troopers only.
Yeah. But I think that he could be a delivery mechanism for something like arcs, which is what they have to have,
Yeah.
I think there are some sick builds with arcs out there where you can really stack them high with either Jedi commanders or with any of these new squad leaders or whatever. But the issue is, I got to get it in, and I'm not. If you see arcs across the table, you're like, cool, I'm going to get my point value shooting at that thing.
Yes.
If I have a way to deliver it, that's historically how I used Obi-Wan, was as a delivery mechanism for arcs, and that made the arcs good because they could actually get there. if you can turn 2 play play his 2-pip, I guess you probably wouldn't be able to because you wouldn't be far enough up, but maybe you can. Maybe there's a way you can be far enough up that you can get that turn 2 out, and then your arcs are actually able to kind of unimpeded run up the board.
You've got to go last with Plo for sure.
Sorry?
You got to go last with Plo on 1.
Yeah, you got to go last with Plo, probably pop burst and just hiding it out to the middle of the battlefield. But maybe, maybe. For 105 points, that's great. Shakti, I love it, man. I'm excited to have access to Makashi. I really am. That's huge. Makashi is a great keyword that I have always wanted. The mercenary stuff is a little bit like, ugh. But I think there's play for pirates. Pirates are not a bad unit. Krees, I've struggled with in terms of cost, but I do want to think that there might be something there. There's something there, I think, for Welos for sure.
Yeah.
She will only get more valuable as we get more mercenaries, right? If we had a valuable mercenary, if we had a valuable mercenary launch tomorrow for Gar, Shakti stocks would go way up. And even as they are, I don't like you pull the mercenary keywords off. I still think she's not bad.
I actually think like Yoda hit the dirt pikes might actually be like a thing that is potentially good.
Mm-hmm. I could see that.
Because you got a bunch of dodge tokens, you're still triggering the independence, and then they've got hit the dirt, and then I don't know.
You'd have 2 super squads with superior equipment, and then
you have 3 super squads, right?
You could have up to 3. I just probably don't think in a Yoda list you would have that much room to make the investment because you also would have to have 3 clone trooper units.
You don't need it if you have Shakti. She has what's it called on her? Are you saying for
just in terms of spending points on core units? Like if you already have Yoda and Shakti and then 3 clone units, like you're already spending like almost half your points at that point.
You're not almost spending half your points. You have spent.
Well, if you put any upgrades on your naked core, then like you're at half your points already.
Yeah.
And so like the mercenary thing, I think that her value is going to go along with Clanker's value. Is basically what.
Or anything else we get. I mean,
yeah, or whatever else.
We'll get new mercenaries as time goes on, and that will change that.
Yeah. So how about for the upgrade cards?
Yeah, upgrade cards. So you and I think most of these are going to go in the context of ARC troopers, right? That's where most of these want to be
because they have charge.
Because of the charge.
Yeah.
The charge is really valuable. I am a little bit.
Some might say.
Yeah.
I am a little bit skeptical, though. I do think there is a world where you start playing your core, and your core, you run your 3 mandatory core. Part of the deal with Gar is they're already such a tax to getting your core as a base. You're almost incentivized to soup them up. I wonder if there's a world where you can make them work a little bit more. And like a Yoda 2-pip target is just a core with Mace Windu in it, kind of thing, right? And maybe not, but I think there's some play there. Plo, I think you guys kind of covered it. He's good. Plo is very good.
He's free money.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I even not in arcs. I think he even in normal core, I like him as a unit leader. A 22-point unit leader, I like that.
I mean, he's like better than a medic for that unit. So if there's a unit where you particularly wanted to keep them alive for whatever reason, like especially a super squad with the heavy, and then he's like an extra insurance policy for that unit in terms of like living.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cad Mundi, you and I disagreed about this one. You were of the opinion that you were pretty cold on him. I'm a little bit hotter on him. Getting surge access, yes, it's a one-time, yes, it's a tap. The more things that we get that are tappables, the more I'm like, all right, let's build a unit that does recover, like gets O-push, that gets this, that gets different things. But that does start to get really, really expensive, and I might be off base there. But I do think that, getting those surge tokens and his lightsaber is not bad. Like, I pay for the shotgun at a similar price. I like Immune Pierced.
Yeah.
It's something that is huge on him that I just love. I mean, that does fundamentally change what I'm willing to put my clone troopers, right? Like in a normal infantry squad. but I can understand why people are skeptical of him over. Like, I certainly wouldn't take him over Plo. But I could see a world where I take him in addition.
My thing is that if we're not seeing Jedi Guardians and ARC Troopers now, then why would we be seeing Ki-Adi-Mundi?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. You might see him in non, which I kind of wish we could see Guardians more. I would love to see more Jedis like that on the field.
I'm with you 100%. I think that there is I think if you want these things to be eligible things to like take in core units, I think their price has to come down a bit just because they are so restrictive to some degree. Like, they are very expensive for things that don't actually interact with your opponent until you get into a melee on a non-charging unit.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know.
I would agree with that for Mundi. I wouldn't agree with that for Plo. Right.
Well, yeah, Plo
I think Plo is like
money.
pretty. I'm not sure that I would put him in a core unit at that price, but
Well, I mean, I would put Obi in a core unit if I could. I think the reroll defense dice ones is, I'd pay for Clairvoyance. I'd pay for that on a super squad, gladly. But
on a super squad specifically, yes, I think the conversation becomes a little different there for sure.
Windu, I am torn on how I feel about Windu, and I need to play him. I think compel on your troopers is a huge thing to just not care about suppression.
It's not troopers.
What?
It's not just troopers.
On your core. That is fair.
I just want to be very clear about that.
Yeah, you're correct. You're correct.
Most Republic lists, I feel like, and are playing minimum core requirements right now.
That is fair. But I mean, that is a piece of Empire tech that I've always been aggressively jealous of the ability to just go, I don't care about your suppression. I just don't. Like, it is not as unrestrictive as Empire gets it, and it's nowhere near the lack of suppression care that CIS has. But it is kind of appealing to me to be able to be like, all right, cool. I just, don't have to care about your suppression shenanigans. The 2L is nice. The lightsaber's nice. 35 points is a lot. I already kind of struggle to get Ahsoka in my list sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I need to play with it because I don't feel quite comfortable making a snap judgment on it, but I am a little bit cold on the price.
Yeah.
Ahsoka, even though like the giving charge is wasted on an ARC Trooper, but Ahsoka does like make an ARC Trooper last significantly longer than Mace does just by being 2 health.
She has some bonkers, yeah.
And so even like taking the 2 health thing into account, Ahsoka actually gives you more on defense than Mace does.
I agree.
And like her attack is like a little bit worse. It's actually not that much worse.
I'd actually make the argument that it's better. She brings critical.
Oh, yeah, she brings critical. That's right. Yeah.
I don't know that I agree with that, though, because the white dice versus the red is pretty. I think that overcompensates for the critical, right?
Critical's literally +1, though.
Right, but the 2 white dice versus 2 red dice is going to be at least +1, right? If not +2.
I mean, 2 red dice versus, what is that? That's really just for, it's about 1.
Even if it's the same, like she gives you more on defense and like Mace gives you compel, and like compel core trooper, again, it's just like limited. And so unless you're going to be hunting for that specifically, then, it's usually honestly just going to be better from a strategy or from a dice perspective to just bring Ahsoka in the ARC unit, which most people don't even do anyway because it's much more attractive to put her in a core unit. I know you do it, but you're you.
I'll tell you what, I will take any of these before I'll take Echo.
Yeah.
No. Who? I'm sorry. Who are you talking about?
Echo.
Oh God! But he gives reliable 1.
So does a clone commander.
Man,
I mean, the good news is Echo doesn't go in any of these slots, right?
That's true.
Well, but he excludes them, right? Because he's a leader.
He does exclude them because he is also a leader. So there you go. Fun stuff as always. All right. Well, Isaiah, you have not been playing with any of these, as you mentioned, but you have been preparing for Evergreen Open, which is happening a little over a week after we record this. And part of that is that you've been going to some locals around here, something that I have not been doing lately. But that's why I brought you on, to at least like be one person who can be sort of the voice of actual competitive experience here in the Pacific Northwest. So why don't you tell us about the events you went to and what you brought to them?
Yeah. I'll touch my list first because it's the same list ish for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
It is a Yoda list with, well, the theory behind the list is getting the use that I can out of Upgrade Pack 2. I'm very hot on Upgrade Pack 2. I think it breathed a lot of life into some places that really needed it. You know, we have a lot of units in this game that are underperforming or just not viable in the competitive sense. And I am very happy with some of the, anytime you get new generic upgrades, you kind of have to reevaluate the entire game, right? You have to go, okay, who has this slot? Let's think about it. In particular, my goal here was to look at fire control and kind of formulate some opinions based on that. Fire control with Padme is just sick. It's just good. It made my Beam ISPs better. I love Beam ISPs. And
I'm sorry, what ISPs?
I love Beam ISPs. I've always loved Beam ISPs. Okay. The only reason I didn't take them to Worlds was just because at the time, Aqua Droids were LOS blocking everything. Yeah. And Armor 2 was like, okay, so my beam does nothing,
Good old days.
But no, I 100%. I'm huge on Beam ISPs now. And I was huge on them pre-Aqua Droids. During Aqua Droids, I was not. Now I am back to being huge on them. I really enjoy that combination. Being able to throw 2 black, 2 red 3 times is like so gross. So running fire control with Padme and 2 Beam ISPs, running an ARC Trooper. It's very similar to my WTC list. Running an ARC Trooper with a captain and a DC-15 gunner as the target of Yoda's 2-pip. A Chewie squad, hit the dirt on them because I think that's great. Although I don't always get tons of value out of that, but it's 3 points. So, a naked infantry with Ahsoka, and then 3 marksmen with RPSs, tank hunting munitions, one of them with Cody, and then Yoda. So that's been the list that I've been running. I find it to be very good. I'm very much so enjoying that list. There's a few flavor things in there that I've picked that other people might not. Like I picked the RPSs over mortars because I find that we're getting into a more armor-heavy game. I also think the RPS is much better now that we have tank hunting munitions. One of my problems for the longest time in this game has been impact. The impact size of pools almost always ends up where you're going about over the armor wall anyway. Yes, yeah. So it's like, hey, you have armor 3 and I did 5 wounds and I have impact 2. Nothing happened. It was exactly the same as if I had no impact. That's so frustrating.
But it's all about armor 5 is what you're really putting that in for.
But even then, when I have 2 and I'm rolling like on the Cody squad, if you're rolling like 8 dice, it's like, oh, I got 7. After all my aims and mods and stuff, I got 7.
Yeah, that's fair.
Cool. That always sucks. Now with RPSs and the tank hunting munitions being like, hey, I have impact 4, that's like, okay, that's a meaningful amount of impact. I'm actually able to, hey, go for it. And especially with the Cody squad. Woo, Cody with tank hunting munitions on next to Padme is a disgusting thing to be like, all right, cool. So Cody shoots 3 red dice that way because he upgrades twice from one from tank hunting munitions, once from Padme. So it's 3 red dice, impact 3. My RPS shoots that way, and it's 2 red and a black. And my 4 guys shoot that way, and it's 2 red, 2 black. That's a disgusting, and I love that.
Now.
I think that's really good. So I really like that gun lines feel more viable. I think that upgrade alone brought gun lines kind of back into the game, and I'm very happy about it because that's my preferred play style. So that's what I brought. I took that first to a tournament in Bremerton, which is right next to Gig Harbor, as you were talking about. That's a little store called Blue Sky that we've talked about before. I very much so enjoy that place. If you're ever over there, it's a cool,
great store.
It's a cool store.
And some of the best Legion stock of any store I've ever seen also.
Yeah, they have a crazy good stock, which is awesome. It's really good. I went 2-1. Both of these tournaments, I went 2-1. Some champ, but was able to play kind of a variety of things. Played some GAR lists. Let me pull up my tournaments for that one because it was 2 weeks ago, so I've kind of sort of filtered it out. Played some Gar lists that were good, that were kind of generic Gar lists. I got to play some of the Separatist list that was kind of all in on the
combat matrix.
On the new upgrade, the Adaptive Comms Network. And that was interesting because I haven't decided if it's that good yet or not, because at the point cost where you have a ton of activations that are running it, it does get, I mean, any recurring cost can get very pricey very fast. And it was fun. It was an interesting game to see how that played. Then I played it against the game that I lost at that tournament in particular was against Caleb Torrey, who is a pretty good player that we have up here. I don't know that he's traveled much at all. So I don't know.
He was at the BCGT last year. He was the finalist that I played against in the final of that one. So
yeah. I would consider him a local player though, because I still consider that a local tournament. You know, it's driving range. But he was running kind of a Dooku. I think this was his Dooku. Yeah, this was Dooku, Maul, and Ventress. And it was a good list. It just the points got away from me. I made some mistakes in terms of deployment, and I made some mistakes in terms of how I pushed POIs, and I think he ended up winning on 1 point in our game, or 1 or 2 points. I think the final score might have not ended up being 1 point difference, but it's because once we realized I was going to lose, it was like, okay, I'm going to go kill some things, right? But good player, good games. I was happy with the performance of that at that tournament because there was nothing that I couldn't do. It was just play mistakes. But shout out to him. He ended up 2-1-ing, and Kyle, I don't know his Dustin Echoes. I don't know his last name, so I can't really properly shout him out.
Kyle Dustin Echoes is what I call him because I also don't know his last name. But we know him as Kyle. CIS player, yeah. He won 3-0 with a 11-act CIS list that had Count Dooku, Super Tech Commander, and then some Naked B1s, and basically sort of like a Grievous Magna Guard, which I do actually like a fair bit.
I
and
like
then
that a lot.
Some BXs and a single AAT, and then for the expensive for all the special forces and for the strike teams also, he had adaptive combat network, I should say, on those guys. So that probably did help out just in terms of, those are often going to be the priority targets. And so he probably got many free aims just from that, even if he wasn't doing like the mega tech of putting it on a B1 and having Grievous Ruthless it out there to get access to it on turn 1 or whatever. But like you're still going to get plenty with those 5 units that have it. And so, for 20 points, like it seems like a pretty good investment when you consider the fact that, for spending 20 points, you're going to get access to probably like 16 or 20 aim tokens that you wouldn't have had access to otherwise over the course of the game. It ends up being pretty good, I think.
Yeah. You could be spending 20 points for the privilege to having to be able to hold 4 suppression tokens, to hold a token that you didn't get to spend. So that you maybe have it next time.
Yeah, funny how that works out.
It's half an echo.
Yeah,
that's right. But I guess the one thing I'll note is that he went with sort of the classic burst, push, choke on Dooku. I feel like the thing that I want to try out is burst, push, despair, because I do
That's
think
the
despair
suppression one, right?
Yeah, it's the suppression and downgrade one of your defense dice one. Because I think that
huge on that with both Dooku and Ventress.
Yeah.
Because having Makashi and then having that is just like, all right, my Yoda's just over here, just.
Because remember, in melee especially, most Jedi are not surging, and so like in terms of making you a Jedi hunter, like you're turning the red dice into a white dice, which means that like you're almost like just getting a free extra wound out of it is sort of a way that I would think about it. Like when you're attacking another, like immune pierce unit, or really any unit that you're attacking in melee, like that's pretty good. And then the suppression thing is just like a bonus on top of that. in terms of like what you're achieving. And then if you this list did not have slice comms, but I just feel like if you're a Dooku list and you have Dooku and then you have a slice comms, either operative or commander super tac, like the amount of suppression that you can just like put on literally anybody you want who's hanging around the point starts to get like pretty ridiculous. So yeah, nice job to Kyle on that one. And then your second tournament was at Zulus, which
Zulus,
I unfairly maligned it not really having. It's true that it doesn't have a lot of locals, but when it finds the time and space, it is capable of doing it.
A 16-man tournament. That was pretty good.
Yeah. But like when they change locations, again, there will be less competition with those dang Magic and Pokemon players so that we can do this a little bit more often. How do things go with that one?
Which, just as a brief shout out, I know you said this is a local flavor thing, but I'm going to do it anyway because you can't stop me.
Hey, you're allowed to.
We're going to be having monthly tournaments at Zulus soon-ish once that new store opens. I'll be running those as I ran this one, and we're very excited. Please come out, and if you're in the area, say hi.
You're running those, not Legion and Fifth Trooper website dad Will Jasper?
No, store dad, a wonderful, beautiful man, but his actual son is taking up more of his time.
How dare he?
I've been replaced. So.
What the hell?
I got abandoned by my store dad. No, I'm kidding. He's great. He's just he was never able. A part of it was we didn't have a great organizer in the space that could dedicate the time they needed to, and he did a wonderful, wonderful job when he had the time. Mm-hmm. But he's just a little bit busier, so I have some free time, and I'm going to start trying to organize. And the staff there is very great at helping organize it too. But I'm going to start trying to kind of take point on that and run those monthly once we get the new space. Yeah, it'll be great. We'll be having monthly tournaments there. And this one at least was a 16-man, which was what we had capped it at. I think we had 3 people who were...
I think you mean 15-man and 1 woman, Isaiah. I hate to correct you live on the show. About your own wife. Anyway, go ahead.
I ranked higher than her, so she doesn't get to say anything.
Wow.
Also went 2-1 at that. I will say I would say that we have 2 winners there because it was a 3-round, which at 16-man
2
is
3-0s, yeah.
2 3-0s. I am angry when people say we have a winner and it's this one person because based on strength of schedule that they had no control
over. That's how
it
works in a 16-person tournament.
That's cool. I gave them both equal prize credit and they shared first place. Nice. So on everything but Longshanks, which doesn't matter, they were both first place. So that tournament for me was a good one. I ended up going first against Adam Harrison, who is a local who I personally think is probably one of the best players in the PNW. I kind of touched on him a little bit earlier, but he top forward last year at Evergreen. He and I have, played at quite a few tournaments. He does not travel and he does not play the game enough, in my opinion. And if he did, I think he would very possibly be cleaning up major tournaments because his play is pretty devastating.
He's very good, for sure.
He was my first match, and he whooped me silly. It was the probably the biggest loss I've had in a long time.
Wow.
Granted, that was my fault. I definitely opted for early. I opted for early attrition in ways that did not yield that what I needed them to yield, and then put me behind on kill points on victory points that were major. And also I made the mistake of calculating averages on an attack on 2 separate spider droids and going, this won't put you over to self-destruct while not having a backup plan. That's one of those things that you got to have a backup plan for. You can't leave them on self-destruct. I lost like 12 clone bodies, 2 6 wounds spread between my ISPs. I lost like 4 wounds on Padme to 2 separate self-destructs. I mean, it was just like he picked up an entire ARC squad with it.
I think there is like a point to be repeated there. We had talked about this back when AI was changed, but the change to AI ended up being a really nice buff to single model vehicles such as the Spider because now, not having to worry about being broken in the traditional sense anymore, as long as you can get a face up on them or just having override hanging around, which again is not hard to do. But like that makes it, because the situation you would often be in before is that I'm going to be able to do a move flame self-destruct if I hit my rally roll on the vehicle, and now you don't have to worry about that anymore. And it's really, really good.
And he managed to blow them both up, and it ripped my line apart.
Yeah.
Like it was, we calculated afterwards, and it was something along the lines of like, if you took health points as the percentage of a unit, it was something like 380 points he got from the 2 self-destructs and damage in my army.
Fair and balanced.
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, and it was one of those things of that was my fault though, right? Like
Sure.
I looked at it and I said, okay, I don't think I'm going to get you to self-destruct range, and then I rolled better, and he rolled than I expected, and he rolled worse than I expected. And I didn't have a backup plan, right? I should have just not taken that shot. There were other shots I could have taken that were less opportune, but I didn't think about the risk that I was putting myself in, right? And so that's I could have played that better. But that was very frustrating. Easy to say that now when I'm not like grumpy about it.
One more quick question, because the rest of Adam's list was that he had Kalani 5 naked B1s to really pump the activation count up, and then he had a super attack with overclock and limiter override. Then he had an Asajj BX with 1 strike team to go along with it, 2 flamer spiders, and then the key item here is 2 snail tanks persuaders that had AP shells, door gunners, defense protocols, and those were the ones that had like only the 2 of them had onboard comms channel. Like he didn't put it on anybody else in his list. And then the Kalani did have fire control. So how scary were those snail tanks plus fire control plus all the other business? Because it seems pretty darn scary to me.
His fire control did not come into play because of how I was able to box him out of using it. Which was, I think, a misplay on his part, but it did lack what I could hit. He was more interested in saving Kalani than he was in getting value out of it, which is, I think, not a bad choice. My list is a very range 4 heavy list, and I can suppress a B1, so you're not getting back up very easily. And I could
pretty much always prioritize saving Kalani over just like getting a couple of fire control shots out there.
On my list specifically, that fire control was not helpful.
Okay.
But the snail tanks, I mean, that onboard that defense protocols, man, it makes life hard for me.
They're so hard to kill with it.
It's hard to kill, especially when they have, a tactical download, or you have dodges on Kalani with nimble. It's like, ugh. I did roll a little bit below the averages in terms of my impact, because I do have impact, I think 13 in my list, on the Alpha Strike, and that's really nice. But I wasn't quite getting what I needed. It does, the outmaneuver and nimble does take away. Okay, I'm going to try and just crit fish. Well, no, you're not. You're not going to try and crit fish, because I can just dodge the crit, right? So outside of my impact, I wasn't going to be able to do much. I did pull one of the tanks. I wanted to pull one turn 1. I didn't quite get it. I got it to like 9 wounds, which just isn't enough, because the AI units don't deteriorate.
Being broken doesn't even matter anymore.
They don't deteriorate at all. Breaking is an advantage. It doesn't do, like, it's not an advantage, but it's not bad. It literally is nothing, right?
It just doesn't matter.
So that felt frustrating. And I think if I had gotten one of those tanks turn 1, there would be a very different world in terms of what I could have dedicated to the 2 spider droids turn 2 that actually would have stopped them from being able to get into my clone ball and just go, and explode. But
God, self-destruct against clones is so brutal.
It's almost
it was devastating. And in a Yoda line too, where I was just like, oh God, please don't kill Yoda. Please don't kill Yoda. And thankfully Yoda was the one thing that didn't take too much wounds, but it was like, this one got 2 arcs and this one got 2 arcs. It's like, of the same squad, it's like, oh, that squad was 140 points and it just lost all but 2 bodies. Ooh.
Yeah. I wonder what it would be like if you had an effect that was on 100% of the time that you wanted it to be on, and could basically do the same thing, and was on a unit that moves 3 times faster. I wonder what that would be like. I just, What would that be like, guys?
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're alluding to, but I'm.
What are you alluding to, Michael? Let's help the listeners out.
It's wheeled by Grievous, obviously.
Yeah.
Mike is still of the opinion that wheeled by Grievous is like an actual thing to be worried about.
Yes.
So why am I the guy who's saying that wheeled by Grievous is a thing of the past?
Because you haven't been on the receiving end of it, Evan. Not in the same way.
I will say it's not as good against a lot of other armies as it is against clones right now.
Yeah.
Clones in particular, it is almost custom tailored to just chew us alive, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to pull apart a rebel list or an empire list or a Mando list. You know,
the Jedi Arts part is still pretty darn good against rebels, but
it is good, but it's not like the Pierce 1 attacks and the highest value you're going to get out of him is against clones, and man, it just feels so bad. And there's just not counterplay.
But we are looking at a world where about 1/5 of your opposing lists are going to be Mandalorian lists at this point. If the numbers continue to go in the direction they're going in, like we're already at 15% of lists out there are just Mando lists straight up.
Yeah.
And now that the custom is going to actually be out and legal, I think that number is going to go up.
Without any models existing out there.
Yeah, well, exactly. But now that the customs are out, it's also going to be one of, if not the sort of quote unquote power gamer sweaty choice in terms of list to play. And so it's going to become more common. And so in that world, I really don't like Grievous, because the thing that Grievous does is he piles a bunch of Pierce 1 attacks on top of each other, and then they just like become Pierce nothing attacks all over again. When you're up against Mandalorians. That's my short version of why I'm like a lot less hot on Grievous than maybe I used to be, allegedly. But yeah, so okay, the rest of the tournament obviously went better than that because you went 2-1. So how things go after that?
I played wonderful local named Travis, who's a great guy who was playing a more kind of generic CIS list. He had Dooku and Grievous Magnas and Unit Asajj, which I think is a good choice. Matchup wasn't good for him. I was very set up to kind of pull him apart. That said, I think he kind of overcommitted turn 1. He put himself a little bit out there and let me really get the full value out of my my Alpha Strike. And that, I mean, if I get the value out of my Alpha Strike in my list, you got to be really bringing something to put me on my back foot.
I can attest to that. Experienced it yesterday. It was not great.
I was gonna. Oh, don't worry. I'm gonna talk about you.
Yeah, can't wait.
Get him.
My last game was against a local named Andrew, who's a great guy, great player, really good player, who's been newer to the scene, but is I guess newer, about a year. Been playing for about a year. He's gotten pretty good. Yeah, I was able to. He was playing the Haunton sort of shenanigans list. That list just does not like this fire control list. The other thing about fire control with all these, with like the Cody squad, being able to split fire 3 ways is disgusting. It's really good at picking up those kind of units. It was a good game, but I kind of was able to I was kind of able to pick him up pretty hard in attrition, though he was able to keep the score very close. Towards the end, we got to the end where there was a path to victory that I don't think he saw, because he was going to be able to pull me off a POI if he had, or not pull me off a POI. We were playing Recover the Research. We were both on 3 POIs in the last round. We were tied. We were both on 3 POIs. There was a move where Luke could disengage and run to a POI and get to a 4th one, and was not immediately obvious because Luke was engaged with some very high value units with like a 1 health Ahsoka left. There was some really high value units that Luke wanted to kill, but it was like, hey, if you disengage and run over here, you can go get that that last victory point. Ended up not mattering because I did manage to pull out a below average roll against one of the other units that was on a POI and wipe him off that one, so it would have ended up tied anyway. But there was a little bit of misplay on his part there that kind of sealed it for me. But that game was very close at 9-7 ended up. I felt like it was very close. I don't think he had that opinion, but I was sweating up until the very end. So good games all around. And then I got to play a game yesterday.
Yeah.
Ton of fun. Again,
yeah. Obviously the most challenging of all those games for you. Especially given the fact that I conceded on round 3.
I am convinced Onaka Gang is one of the big bad boogeymen out there right now.
Yeah.
They're one of the things.
Just tell everybody that you did build your list to be able to handle Onaka Gang, and that there is a reason for that.
Onaka Gang and Mandos are the things that I am most worried about, and I think my list handles them very, very well. Yeah. And the changes to RPSs and the tank hunting munitions makes it where I can kind of just pull a Wheelo off the board turn 1, and that's great. I love that.
I'm sure they do too.
I did not like that, actually. I just want to give a quick correction. I did not like losing my Wheelo, with barely any effort at all, honestly. And I think the only way I could have avoided it is to have just truly deployed at the corner of my deployment zone with all of them, which would have made them mostly irrelevant for most of the game. And so, there aren't that many places you can put 4 Wheelos.
I think you could have delayed me a little bit longer.
I definitely made mistakes in that game.
Yeah.
I think that there was some rust I was shaking off because I haven't gotten to play a ton since WTC, to be honest with you.
The excuses, Evan.
Yeah. Well, or maybe I'm just bad at the game, although Longshank says I'm still very good at the game. In fact, Longshank says that I'm better than both of you at the moment. Don't worry, everybody.
Did you report our game? Did you put our game in the system?
No, because it wasn't a tournament.
Would you like to put?
Isaiah.
Would you like to? Hey, would you like to? Let's do a one-on-one tournament right now.
One-on-one. That's how people would cook the books. I wouldn't refuse to do it because of me. I think that you would be the one who would be cooking your own books by trying to come at the number 8 player in the world, technically right now. Again,
I
says
would be
9,
cooking my books by playing
Antoine Grenade is 2 of those people.
Against somebody who claims that they can't play me because playing me would be cooking the book. Okay.
Yeah. Just remember, everybody, Longshank's ratings are dumb. So it's literally the only reason I bring that up. But yeah, I think that I need to spend more time looking at people who have done well with Onaka Gang to really sort of wrap my brain around what I'm supposed to do. Because I'll admit, I haven't spent a ton of time thinking about what my grand strategy with it is. And you can't just joust with Onaka Gang because where you can sort of joust with the tanks most of the time. But with the weak ways, they do die pretty quickly. So you need to really have your strategy down in terms of the way that you deploy and maneuver them. And, once you get into melee and are doing relentless shots, at that point you're in pretty good shape, but you do have to get there in order to actually sort of make them relevant. And I think that there's some learning I could do from the players who have sort of truly unlocked the secrets of Onaka Gang. And, I haven't gotten to listen to Ali Dyer either on That's No Moon, or I think he was on Nerf Herders also. He I don't think we actually covered this, but he, I believe, won the, UKGE. Hopefully I won't have to correct myself, but he went 5-0 with an Onaka Gang. That was the triple swoop version.
Yeah, it's the demo demoralize.
Demoralize 7 triple swoop 12 act version, which I think is probably the best one. That is what I tried yesterday, and yesterday I didn't get a lot of juice out of demoralize, even because there was so much long range fighting happening that it just didn't get to the point where I had enough living units that it was really mattering, because my tanks were just getting ripped up by a bunch of RPSs with anti-materiel rockets.
Fire control will do that, man.
And fire control, yeah. And my troopers were getting ripped up by ISPs that were triple shooting with fire control Padme, just boosting them the whole way. It's pretty nasty stuff, honestly.
Oh man, when I looked at your tank and went, all right, so that's gonna be 2 crits, 2 hits, so go ahead and roll 2, and then the pirates, I was roll 4, and then I was roll 3. That felt really good for me. I really enjoyed that.
It was really that was really good for you and bad for me.
I had fun.
But I should mention real quick that if you want to look at somebody who knows what they're doing with an Aki game, then you need look no farther than Tales of the 503rd, which is our battle report series. I was being a bad TFT owner, and that I neglected to hype it up on the podcast when it actually came out. It came out a couple weeks ago, but I really think that those guys are doing fantastic things with their battle reports in terms of making the right cuts so that the whole thing is under an hour, but still showing the using it, but also having good camera work and doing good narration along with it, and just to hype our own people up a little bit extra, having players on there that are really good. And so most of the time when you want to sort of look at the hyper competitive aspect of Legion, usually the best places to see that are actual streamed games, which obviously take longer to get through because an entire Legion game is obviously way more than an hour. But I think that what I would say for Tales of the 503rd is that you can get that full competitive aspect from really, really good players, but with it cut to respect your time. And so I really, really encourage folks to check it out. Everything's been glowing about them. They're doing an awesome job, and I can't tell you how happy I am and lucky that I feel that they were willing to come onto our network, which, to me, basically the advantage is that the YouTube subscribers, we just have the nice subscription base that hit 9,000, by the way, Mike. I don't know if you noticed that.
I did notice.
Yeah. So that's awesome. We really appreciate everybody jamming that subscribe button. I'm,
and subscribe.
Yeah, hit the like and subscribe, blah, blah, blah.
Or hate and subscribe. It's just as good.
Yeah. Hate and subscribe, as long as you click the like button.
Love us or love to hate us.
That's right. As long as you're clicking the buttons, that's all we care about, right? But yeah, they have really good stuff. And also want to mention that I just posted our latest hobby phase from Rob's Hobbies, painting a unit that all three of us know, certainly, love, probably not, but that would be Han Solo, whose painting guide was just posted. He did a very nice job, and he even
looks lovely.
He even did some nice creative work when the end of Han's blaster broke off while he was building it, and so he cleverly turned it into a little flag that says "bang" that comes out of it instead. Which is just a really sick way to, make lemonade out of lemons, as they would say. So yeah, please do check out those videos. TFT is far more than just the Notorious Scoundrels, in case you haven't noticed.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. I knew Mike was going to say something when I mentioned that. But yeah, Isaiah, we're going to be having you back on next week, and just to give you a little preview, I think we're going to talk more about Evergreen prospectively, because that'll be the episode that airs basically right before it. So I think that we'll hear more in terms of whether you decided to make any changes to your list based on your experiences. Certainly the one against me is not going to motivate you to make any changes to be good against a Naka gang, because you kicked my butt.
Gonna make me give out all my secrets before the game? Oh no.
Yeah. Isaiah, you're not one of the people that actually cares about such things. Mike over here, sometimes he's like, I'm not going to talk about it for my tournament because people are going to take advantage of it.
So sweaty, man. So sweaty.
But yeah, we'll talk more about that next week. But before we end this episode, Mike, we are going to take a foray back into the land of generative AI, which at least one person on Reddit called us out for us relying.
Are you allowed to do that? Can we post this episode?
Yeah, this will be the test, because the Legion subreddit has officially said that you're not allowed to post AI generated content, and we are sort of skirting the line, because part of this does involve Mike saying something that was generated by AI, but Mike is a real person who's saying it. So
yeah.
We're going to see where the rules lawyers come down on this one for the Legion subreddit.
We'll see if the text is actually an if-then statement.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But anyway, what does C3LP have for us this time, Mike?
So, C3LP was asked the question, Star Wars Legion just released a Jetpack B2s. What is the next most likely unit to receive jetpacks, in your opinion?
Oh, God.
Oh ho! Jetpack B2 super battle droids are now on the table, and that gives us a very interesting precedent. AMG has explicitly been creating new design space around heavy droid troopers, which those are not, which makes future big infantry with mobility designs much easier to imagine. My pick? Specifically, I think Kashyyyk Wookiee Warriors are the next unit I'd put money on receiving a jetpack-style variant. The biggest reason is the visual language makes sense immediately.
The visual language.
We've seen AMG willing to make an existing infantry concept and push it into a substantially different battlefield role. Jetpack B2s do exactly that. Take a famously lumbering close-range bruiser and give it an entirely new mobility profile. Wookiees are perfect for the same treatment. Imagine jetpack Wookiees, heavy melee infantry, high wound count, excellent close-range threat, jump and jetpack mobility, probably some kind of ramming or impact mechanic. And unlike giving jetpacks to another clone or Mandalorian unit, jetpack Wookiees would feel genuinely new. My runner-up, Clone Troopers, Dark Horse, Geonosians.
Jetpack Geonosians, the madmen. Wow.
So I agree with the Reddit. We should put
should we stop AI generated content?
C3LP's final thing on Wookiees is the Wookiee has traditionally approached the enemy from ground level. This is clearly an oversight. I think this is funny on a lot of different levels. I think it's funny
on like 8 different levels for sure.
It's funny because Scale was pretty close to
Scale used to be awesome.
Like it was just kind of better.
Isaiah doesn't even know because you weren't even playing then, but Scale used to be rad.
So the fact that like jump pack Wookiees kind of already existed in
they
some
used to exist and then they took it away.
I think it's just hilarious.
That made me so mad. I was so excited to hear clones to get back their jetpacks and be like, yeah, we're getting some cloned, like they're giving it back to ARCs and it's going to be great. We're going to get those guys from the last season of Clone Wars where they're, coming across the bridge. That's what I want. I want some jetpack clones.
We had them, to be clear. They weren't very good, but we did have them.
I want like a new unit though. I want like a clone unit that has, because that feels like that could be something different, right?
I mean, to be fair,
or like maybe Galactic Marines. Like, do they have They don't have jetpacks, do they? Like the Mundi Marines that kill him in episode 3.
I'm pretty sure they just have longer skirts.
Yeah,
and that's about it.
Are those commas? They're commas, right? Technically, that's the technical name.
Combat skirts. And then they have like they're basically like snowtroopers, kind of. I don't know. I think I actually like looked that up on Wikipedia when I was obviously especially bored. Was like what was actually different about the Galactic Marines, and I don't remember there actually being a ton.
Yeah. But I think it's just a different outfit, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, it basically looks like that way to me. But maybe the reason that they took it away from ARC Troopers was because they had plans for a special unit that had a jetpack.
I mean, you look at like Battlefront 2, we have precedent for that. There's like a whole separate clone jump trooper unit.
Yeah, but to that point, they went with the cartoon version of the Rocket B2 rather than the Battlefront version, which was actually kind of different.
Yeah, definitely.
So, we'll
we could get like some of the Imperials things too, right? They have some jump trooper.
I think for Empire, they're probably eventually going to do the pseudo Mandalorian guys that were in season 3, whatever they were called. The guys who were in like literally 10 minutes of Star Wars, but that's all you need.
With Paz, right? They have those are the jetpacks.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So yeah, jetpack Wookiees. I guess you can sort of do it with helping hand.
You can. That is a thing. You can throw Wookiees through the trees, I guess now. Since they can't do it themselves.
For some stupid reason. I feel like Wookiee. If BXs have jump 1, I feel like Wookiees should have jump 1. Maybe, is that so crazy to say?
I do think that BX droids in canon.
They're more nimble. They're more.
Definitely
more. They climb. They're so
ninjas.
Fast.
They're ninjas.
Yeah, I don't know. Like we will see whether the change to Wookiee troopers that has been just like it's been teased. Like it's been. Yeah, it's Lucy in the football. Like you guys understand that reference, right? Like it's just over and over again. Jesus, like, do kids not watch Charlie Brown anymore?
No,
I watch Charlie Brown a lot.
Okay, you don't remember what Lucy did all the time? Was that
name. She was
the one with the black hair?
Yeah, I only ever watched it for Snoopy.
Her thing was that she would hold the football for Charlie Brown to kick it. And then she would say, okay, this time I'm not going to pull the football away when you kick it. And every single time she pulled it, because it was hilarious to her. And that is what Atomic Mass Games, yes, I'm calling you out, has been doing to us Wookiee fans basically since 2.6 dropped in the first place and changing the scale rule. And made even worse by the fact that they changed the names of the command cards. And that Wookiee Chieftain still costs 100 points, which is 10 points more than Han and a Tauntaun, need I remind you. And then it was like made even worse recently because the Pierce one on the Flutter Gunner, which is the better version still, by the way, Isaiah, has become much less useful now that Impervious has changed. So it's just been one thing after another against Wookiee players. Even though Battle Pack 2 does contain a couple of spicy things for Wookiees, that being Hit the Dirt and superior equipment.
And Chewie.
What's that?
And Chewie.
Is Chewie actually in that pack?
No, Chewie was print and play.
Yeah,
wasn't he?
I think Chewie's print and play.
Because Chewie was legal before.
But isn't his physical card come? I haven't gotten my pack yet.
It's not in there. The physical cards for the characters are actually only the ones that were in last year's June like print and play thing, which is like the what is it? It's the Cassian and Rex and like those guys.
So are these upgrade pack 3 cards?
The character ones at least, as well as like some of the other stuff that came out too. So yeah, like
down with upgrade packs. Just make it print.
Just make everything print and play. I think we feel the same way about that. Even more reason why we could have gotten something real for Wookiees earlier. But yeah, I think jetpacks for Wookiees is a hilarious joke. The Geonosian thing is also hilarious because that just exemplifies that C3LP still understands very little about Star Wars Legion.
I thought the Dark Horse Geonosians, I was just like, oh man.
I guess like it could make them. I mean, what if like a Geonosian had a jetpack that made it speed 3? Then you'd really be cooking with those guys. Then Sun Fac would become like the best character in the game. But I don't know, guys. Like you two tell me. Pretty much the thing that I do for the cover art for these episodes on YouTube is to take advantage of the lovely painting and photography that AMG bestows on us on the world with their promotional like material. Should I just like make an AI generated Wookiees with jetpacks opposing Geonosians with jetpacks as a one-time AI generated piece of art for this episode?
That's going to be like a Mad Max looking.
Do I dare do that?
You do it once and you're gonna fall into the cheap.
I can see the YouTube comments already if I do that. So even though I really want to, I want to, sort of keep ourselves clean in terms of the accusations of using AI for anything except for sort of like pointing out the fact that it is often very silly and that people should not be relying on it as much as they typically do these days, which is the whole reason we came up in this segment in the first place. Take that, Reddit. Anything else about C3LP's ridiculous answer before we end the show? Isaiah, you seemed particularly upset about the whole thing.
I'm mad. I wanted jetpacks on my clones. I was so happy because it was right there. And
it was right there.
Yeah, gave it to the carpets.
Man, they definitely. I don't know. Do they need it more? I'm not sure. Is Republic the faction just as dead as Wookiees?
Stop giving me things that aren't clones. No one cares about these dumb whiny Jedi or these stupid carpets or these dumb Jar Jar characters. Wow. Just give me clones. That's what I want to play. I want my clones, just clones.
I guess, hey, we got ARFs and Marksmen this year.
Marksmen are good. Marksmen are good. They fundamentally changed list building in GAR, which is great.
Yeah. Are you finally off the ARF train?
Yeah.
Have you finally stopped trying to make ARFs happen?
I still, man, if we could just get some more points cuts, there's a world where with Ahsoka, they're really good because, man, that unit just doesn't die. But low profile on red saves is wildly good, especially if you can put block behind it. But, man, that unit's just so dang expensive.
You can put Ahsoka on ARFs, can't you?
Yes, you can. And that's why, it can be really good, but it's just like...
Yeah, if it didn't cost so much, then I would think about that.
Yeah, it's so expensive.
Yeah, 66 base is just...
Yeah,
it's not an arc, and arcs I think still require some additional expenditures in order for you to.
If they were 5 bodies at that, I would feel like okay.
Yeah. I feel like that ARFs are one example of where the idea of varying mini count sizes between these special forces and core units would have been a good thing because, I think that
and just have 5 base.
Yeah, well, I mean that's what I mean. Or when Mud Troopers come out, I wouldn't be surprised if that's at least base 5, maybe even a base 6, and having non-surging white saves or something like that. Yeah. So we will see, but and then we'll also see if Wookiees actually become fun for the first time since 2.6. When November hits, I am not willing to be fooled again. I'll be pleasantly surprised if it happens.
I bet you they might get new unit cards, like new units. I would be a little bit surprised if you're going to take the time to redo the Wookiee thing. I think that you probably actually make a Wookiee core unit.
I could see that. But I could also just see them actually making Wookiee Trooper matter as a keyword and just giving it some bonuses. But
I think I would have been more on that train before the commando.
That's fair. That's fair. That said, the gauntlet that I will throw is that if they improve the actual units, but then they don't do anything about the most boring non-anything happening command cards in the entire game, then I will still be sad about that.
I mean, you don't need charge on your command cards if you already have it, Evan.
I guess you're right. So I also don't need them to do literally anything else either.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
Obviously.
Okay, let's land the plane before we just pour on more gar salt.
This has been the Notorious Scoundrels Season 4, Episode 68. I'm Mike.
I'm Evan.
I'm Isaiah.
Stay fresh, cheese bag.